Have you ever had a plan for your classroom management and then it did not go the way that you thought? And you figured, what on earth am I going to do now? Well, let's talk about how you can adjust your plan and figure out what to do instead. Well, welcome back to the Teach for the Heart podcast, where we tackle teaching challenges from a biblical perspective. Why are we here? Because we don't believe that our spiritual walk and teaching profession should exist in two separate domains. Rather, the hope we have in Christ should change how we approach everything, not just at home, but at school as well. So join us as we explore both the spiritual and practical sides of key teaching challenges, integrating them together so we can succeed at teaching, glorify God, and make a lasting difference in our students' hearts and lives. This episode is brought to you in partnership with the Herzog Foundation. We also want to thank our sponsor, Liberty University. Are you looking for ways to touch the future today? The Liberty University School of Education provides multiple options for education degrees that lead to a state teaching license. Enroll in one of their online programs to get on track with your dream of becoming a certified teacher. Or if you're already teaching but would like to pursue an advanced degree or become a principal, reading specialist, math specialist, school counselor, they provide those as well. They offer degrees at the bachelor's, master's, specialist, and doctorate levels. So you can earn your degree at Liberty University with flexible online coursework options and Christian professors who care about you, your success, and your ability to make an eternal impact through your education calling. At Liberty, they're training champions for Christ, one degree at a time. For info, go to liberty.edu, or with questions, you can reach out to SOE, stands for School of Education, at liberty.edu. Well, today we're so excited to be talking about what do you do when your classroom management plan isn't working, and particularly in the summer, how can you kind of adjust it and be ready for next year? I'm joined today by Becky Jones, one of our Teach for the Heart team members and Teach for the Heart Plus mentors. Becky, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Happy to be here.
And if you're one of our Teach for the Heart Plus members and attend our coaching calls, you recognize Becky. She is always doing such a great job giving advice on our coaching calls. But we're really excited to talk about this because, a lot of times this happens both in the school year and over the summer where you have a plan, you're going with it, and then it's just not working for one reason or another. The students aren't responding, you're not feeling aligned with it, and it can be really frustrating if we let it, and you can start to just feel like I give up. But that's not the way we want to do it. Instead of giving up, we need to recognize no plan is perfect, and we simply need to adjust it. And in the summer, that is particularly a great time to just step back and adjust your plan.
Yeah, I always like to say a plan is never set in stone. Like it is never done. We're always learning, we're always perfecting and adding to our plan and adjusting as we go. So that's kind of my mantra as far as plans go.
Yes, absolutely. And if you don't have a cluster management plan at all, real quick before we get into this, we do need to talk for just a second about it is so important to have a plan because it's hard to adjust a plan when you don't even have a plan in the first place. So if you've never really sat down and thought through, okay, how am I going to handle various situations in your classroom? And you find, man, I have been struggling with classroom management. That is probably why. And I will say, I started my first year without a plan. I was just like, I'll figure it out. It did not go well. So having a plan is so important. That way, you know how you're going to respond. You've thought it through ahead of time. You're not trying to like figure it out on the fly in the moment. I will say that works when you are a master. Does not work well when you don't know what you're doing. So if you don't
Or
have a
if you
plan
have
yet,
Sorry,
go
or
ahead.
if you have particularly difficult students, like even if you've been teaching
Yes.
for a long time, if you have a really hard class, it might be a time to create a plan, even if you've never needed one before.
Yes, that's a really, really good point. So if you've never made your plan, I will tell you, we have a program going this summer called your Smooth Running Class, where we actually help you make your plan. So this is great if you've never made a plan or if you need help adjusting it. We'll tell you about more about that at the end. But yeah, having a plan is so important, and then we can adjust it. So, first of all, we're going to talk about in the summer, how do you know what to adjust? And then we'll talk about our special process that we teach in Classroom Management 101 that helps you know, well, what do I do when I need to adjust something and I don't know what to do differently? So, let's start by talking about how do you know what to adjust in, particularly if you're looking at it in the summer when you actually have some space to think. So, my biggest piece of advice is to go through each section of your classroom management plan and to just think through, well, which parts didn't work well? Where were the problems? What were the areas where, man, this didn't go well and I want to do something different? And just identify maybe the top 2 to 3, maybe 5. I wouldn't try to change too much. Just pick those top areas.
And what I really like to do, even before reading a plan, would be to just mentally think through parts of my day. Because sometimes when I read something, I kind of get on that track of like, okay, this is what the plan says, this is what I need to fix. And I forget about what the day actually looks like and how it felt, especially like now, right as it's ending. What parts of your day were you kind of like they were cringeworthy, where it was like, that was not perfect. We managed, we got through the year, but we need a better solution there. And I like to write those down first before reviewing the plan just so I have that fresh in mind reality.
Yeah, that's such great advice, Becky. Right. To stop and think through, okay, what are some things that I did not like about last year? What did not go well? Which things drive me nuts? Or things I felt like I either never really knew what to do or what I did just didn't work out well. So I think that's definitely one thing to consider. Becky, any other things you think people should consider as they're kind of asking themselves, what should I adjust in the summer?
One thing that I think sometimes is easy to lose is we think about what procedures we have, but I think it's important to consider what procedures are missing. Like stuff happens during the day, but you don't actually have a plan for how they happen, whether it's how students pass papers or how you leave a classroom or how kids enter the classroom. All of those are pretty basic, so you probably have plans for those things. But what about getting a drink of water? Getting a Kleenex? There are some things that sometimes you don't even need an official plan, especially depending on the age that you teach, but sometimes there are missing procedures that would just make your day run more smoothly if you had them.
Yeah, that's such great advice. Just yeah, and you can a lot of times identify those by where was there chaos, what places were just like this does not go very smoothly. And you're right, maybe you need to tweak the a procedure, but maybe you just didn't have one. I think that
Mhm.
happens a lot with the transitions. Like I have so many
Yes.
teachers be like, transitions are so crazy. It's like, well, what is your procedure? I don't really have one. Well, that's the problem.
Yep. Yep.
So thinking through that super helpful. Well, we want to take some time and talk about our process that we teach for how do you make an adjustment. And we teach this in Classroom Management 1 and we call it ISDI. It's our little acronym, ISDI. It stands for identify, seek solutions, determine what to do and implement them. And as we go through this, you might say a few times, Linda, Becky, this is like not rocket science. And it's not. Like this is nothing. This little acronym is like nothing powerful in me telling it to you, but the power is in actually doing it. In kind of because I think sometimes what happens is when we have a problem area in our classroom, we just get paralyzed by it. We feel stuck. We feel like it's just not working and I'm just frustrated rather than actually stepping back and saying, okay, I'm going to try to find a solution.
And I think one of the things we also get stuck on is we know almost all of the time there isn't one magic solution that will fix all of it. And that's not the goal. The goal is to improve things. And often it's a layered approach where this thing will fix part of it. And then you add another thing that fixes another part of it. And so that's an important thing too, is when you go through the ISTE process, you're not finding that one perfect magic thing that will solve all the problems. It doesn't exist. But you are working just to improve incrementally.
Yes, that reminded me of that. Have you ever heard the Swiss cheese analogy for
Yes,
solving
yes, it's
problems?
so
Yes, where
effective.
you imagine Swiss cheese with holes in it. The idea of like in certain cases, it's like one thing by itself will help a lot, but there's holes, and you
Yep.
got to layer those Swiss cheeses on top of each other to kind of cover up all the holes, which is exactly what you're saying.
Yep.
So that's really helpful to keep in mind. Okay, let's start going through the four steps of the process. So step number one is, and you would do this the very important thing first. You would do this separately with each issue. So you don't try to solve 8 issues at a time. You pick one at a time. That's super key to keep from being overwhelmed. So for each one, you're going to start with I is identify the problem. Now this sounds simple, but this is actually probably the most important part of the process is actually identifying, okay, what exactly was the issue? And then go a few layers deep. Well, why was that the issue? What was going on that was causing that? For example, if you said, let's just say, let's like take transitions. Yeah, transitions are crazy. Okay, that you haven't quite identified the problem yet. Why were they crazy? What was going on? Well, students are just talking the whole time, or when they get up, they're like wandering around the classroom. What you come up with when you ask why are they chaotic, that is going to give you a lot more clarity. And if you can even go a little deeper and then maybe ask that question a few more times, why? Like, and really try to get at what is the actual problem here? What is the actual issue?
I think that's super important. We get a lot of questions about my transitions are difficult. It's like, nope, you need to be more specific. We need to solve specific problems and really honing in on, even if it's just one of those, like even if you're just like, okay, I want to address the time and the wandering part first, and we can talk about talking a little bit more later. Taking it step at a time can be really helpful.
This episode is brought to you in partnership with the Herzog Foundation. The Herzog Foundation puts on retreats and trainings throughout the year to equip teachers to share their faith and grow in their profession. If you are looking for inspiration and encouragement connected with apologetics, athletics, the arts, reading, special education, or engaging with parents, there is a retreat for you. Visit teachfortheheart.com/Herzog retreats to sign up and learn more. That's teachfortheheart.com/Herzog retreats. Now back to our program. So, number one, identifying the issue. What is the actual problem? What am I trying to fix? Number two is seek out solutions. So, in this phase, what we're recommending is not that you try to yet decide what you're going to do. You're just looking for ideas. And that can be really helpful because sometimes our brain immediately rejects ideas. I know I do this all the time. I hear an idea, I'm like, oh, that won't work because of that. That won't work because of that. That won't work because of that. And that is just like a no, no, no. Like our mind is not open to ideas when we're doing that. So you kind of want to shut that off and notice that the next step will be to decide. So, like, I don't have to do any of these. I'm just gathering ideas. I'm seeking out solutions. So I might be listening to podcasts. I might be Googling. I recommend even more than that, talking to a colleague, talking to administrator, talking, just I'm gathering ideas on what might work. I'm also asking myself, thinking creatively. Okay, what do I think would maybe help? And I'm just putting them all down. Some people call this like a green light pattern, right? Just no, there's no wrong. I'm not saying no to any of this. I'm just making a list of ideas. And that can be really helpful to just kind of give your mind that space to just get all the ideas out. Because sometimes even a bad idea will springboard to a good idea.
Yeah, and depending on the time of year you're doing this, honestly, asking your students for solutions. I've had creative ideas come from students to solve problems where it's like, wow, I never would have thought of it that way. And so not completely negating the fact that your students are part of the class culture as well, and they have ideas that are sometimes really beneficial. And one thing I want to say about the green lighting is that Swiss cheese layered approach again. You're not trying to find one magic solution. So having all of those kind of compiled in one area can be really helpful. You're not going to use all of them. That would be chaotic in a whole new way, but you might use a few.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And I like that you brought in students, right? Depending on when you're listening to this episode, if you're doing this the first time in the summer, that might be difficult to do, but this is a skill you're building. Work on it now in the summer, but the idea is not just to use this in the summer. The idea is to use this in October and November and January and all throughout the year. Whenever you're like, this isn't working, okay, I'm going to step back. And I love that idea of using students. So, number one, we said identify the problem. Number two, seek out solutions. You're just greenlighting, putting all the ideas down. Number three is where you say you determine or you decide what to change. So, this is where you take all the ideas and you actually ask yourselves, well, which one or ones, which of these ideas do I actually feel like has the best chance to help in this? And as you're doing this, remember, there are very few things in teaching where there's only one right way of doing things. So really consider, I think one of the biggest keys in classroom management is feeling aligned with your plan. If you are taking the idea from the teacher across the hall, but they have a very different personality than yours, and you're like, okay, it works for them, but I really don't like this idea, but I guess I'll try it. It's probably not going to go well. I mean, you could try it if you want, if you really think it's a great idea, but if you really think it's a great idea, you'll be more excited to try it, if that makes sense. So, okay, slight caveat. Sometimes you do something afraid. Sometimes you do need to be like, I know I need to do this. I don't want to do it. I'm going to do it anyhow. I know I definitely had to do that a few times. But back to my main point is, I do think it's important that you feel like it's a good idea, that you feel like, yes, I can do this. It might be hard, it might be scary, but yes, this is something that I could do consistently, and I think it will help. And remember, if it doesn't, you just come up with another idea. So,
And I do like that you said consistently in there, because if it doesn't work after a week or two, that doesn't mean it's the time to chuck it. You have to stick with it for a little while. Change takes time. And so just knowing that part of the ISDI process isn't each week saying, okay, well, that thing didn't work. No, everybody, including you, is getting used to a new routine or a new procedure. And so it's not going to be an overnight change. So don't immediately chuck ideas that are failing. Continue to think through how to improve them, continue to adjust them as you go, but you have to give them time.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you brought that up because we might not have remembered to bring that up at the end. So we're getting a little bit of ahead of ourselves, but yes,
Sorry.
when you are trying no, I'm so glad you brought it up because this was not on my list. When you are trying your idea, like Becky said, I see so many times teachers discard a strategy after 1 day. 1 day, 2 days. They're like, it didn't work for me. Very few classroom management strategies are going to work on day one. Sometimes they will, and it's great. But most of them, the power is in the consistency. It's
Mhm.
in the students seeing, okay, they're going to handle it this way every time. And so you have to give it, I say at least 2 weeks. Like
Mhm.
if you don't give something at least 2 weeks, you don't really have any idea if it's going to work yet. I mean, unless it's just I don't know. Even if it's a disaster, I think of certain classroom management strategies like a warning system. Like when I first implemented a warning system, I mean, I used the analogy of like reeling in a fish. They're like flopping all around. Like it was bad. Like they did not like it, right? I mean, because I was letting them do whatever they wanted, and now I was holding them accountable, and it was just like it was all kinds of craziness. They did not like it, but it was in the consistency. Then, oh, okay, this actually is. So I very glad you brought that up. Give things at least 2 weeks before you
Mhm.
decide, okay, I'm going to circle back and try something else.
Mhm.
All right. So let's review our steps. Step number one, identify the problem. Step number two, seek out solutions. Step number three, decide what you're going to change. And then number four, implement the change. So this one's pretty simple. Put it into practice. Actually try it out. If you're in the middle of the school year, you can do that the next day. Just go ahead and try it out. But the beautiful thing about doing this over the summer is you can start the year fresh, and it's always easier to teach students something fresh at the beginning than it is to circle back. And oh man, there's so much I want to talk about here. I want to talk about how you need to teach procedures and actually like really insist that they're followed. So maybe we can link to some episodes in the notes that you could kind of help you with that. But there's so much we could talk about there. But yeah, implementing the procedure, being consistent is the biggest thing. Or the new expectation, whatever it is, just say, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it consistently.
I was going to say, you say this one's really simple, and I agree,
Mm.
but again, we got to loop back to that. You have to actually teach it too. So, yeah, not the
Yes.
time to talk about it now, but definitely it's not as simple as it sounds in ways.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think we have a minute to just touch on this. Obviously, we won't be able to go deep, but yeah, when you're teaching either a procedure or an expectation to your students, you do need to take the time to teach it. So many times we assume that students just know what they should do, and there is an element where like, yeah, they should. But that's just you just got to let go of that. And you have to assume they don't know. And you can't really hold them accountable for something that hasn't been clear to them. When you've been really clear, then you can hold them accountable. So I would say, even if you're teaching high school seniors, you might have to be more clear than you think with this is the expectation of what I expect for behavior in this class. And then when you're teaching procedures, we have a 4-step process that we teach where you explain it, then you practice it. Yes, even with seniors, then you give feedback. So you say, this was good, this was not good, correct. And then you have them redo it if needed. So if it's bad enough, you redo it. And that really shows, okay, this is actually what we're going to do. We're actually going to be consistent with this.
And I would say, in addition to practicing, sometimes, depending on the type of procedure, modeling it first, whether it's with another student and the two of you are doing it, but you acting as the student can be helpful. And like Linda said, sometimes they should know, and they should, but live in reality. Reality is they don't, and you just have to live there. And you can be frustrated and just not teach it because you shouldn't have to, but that's not going to help your classroom. So just live in reality and let it go. And literally, like in elementary, I teach kids how to glue. Like I teach them how to use a glue stick effectively. It's just one of those things where you think they should know, but if you don't teach it, it just goes really badly.
That's a great example, right? Go a little more detailed on what we're going to teach. That's great. So I hope that this is helpful for you guys as you think through what do I want to change over the summer, and then once again take this process and use it all throughout the year. It is definitely not just for the summer, but we do have a special program happening this summer that we want to tell you a little bit about. If you want to join us in with it, it is called Your Smooth Running Classroom. I'm going to let Becky share a little bit about it too because she is really involved in helping this. But it's a program where we walk with you week by week and help you either create your classroom management plan. If you've never created it, you definitely are going to want this. If you've already created one, but you say, okay, I want to do some major revamps to this and I want some help with this, I don't want to do it on my own, it would absolutely help you with that as well. It's called Your Smooth Running Class. And the URL is teachfortheheart.com/smooth. If you want to sign up for that. Becky, you want to share anything else about
Oh,
your
I'm
smooth running
just so
class?
excited about it. Yes. So last year I got to run this. I get to run it again this year. And it's just my favorite part is the live work days. So every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we have live work days. And it's just a bunch of teachers coming together, setting aside dedicated time to work on one specific part of their plan. Okay, sometimes two, but mostly one specific part of their plan, and just brainstorming together. We have breakout groups where you have an elementary, a middle, or a high school focus. So you're talking to colleagues who know the challenges that you specifically are dealing with. We have mentors there to come and support and answer specific questions. And it's such a wonderful, fantastic time that's just, we have laughter, we have productive time to brainstorm. It's one of my favorite things. So I hope you join us.
Yes. And Becky, you guys do such a great job at it. And the great thing about that too is it's really up to you. You can make the program what you want. If you're like, yes, I want to be at that live thing, then you are going to love that experience. If you're like, that's not me, or I don't want to feel locked into a certain day, you don't need to. It's just a bonus part of the program. You can do it all on your own schedule if that works better for you. So we really wanted to make it work no matter what your summer looks like as you go in. So once again, teachfortheheart.com/smooth. We'll get you all the details and get signed up, but don't wait too long because we are starting here soon. So once again, to all the links, notes, everything from this episode, you can get at teachfortheheart.com/348. Any final thoughts, Becky, as we wrap up?
I just want to say, along the lines of Your Smooth Running Class, mentors, support, and help and brainstorming is available, not just live. You can email us and we will support you throughout the way. So like Linda said, if that isn't for you, it's not like you're on your own. We're going to be there to support
Yes.
you every step of the way, regardless of how you are going to engage with this course. We want to help you make the best plan you can.
Yes. Oh, and they do such a great job. I'm so thankful for our mentor team. They're absolutely fantastic. So thank you guys so much for being with us. If you do enjoy this podcast, if you could, like, subscribe, share it, leave a review, all the things you know to do. We are on YouTube now, those of you that aren't aware. So we're so excited about our new channel over there on YouTube. But thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. We hope this episode has been helpful for you. This episode is brought to you in partnership with the Herzog Foundation. All views and opinions are our own, don't necessarily reflect those of the Herzog Foundation. I look forward to being with you again soon. In the meantime, teacher, remember, God is at work in you and through you, and He's using you to make a difference. Keep your eyes on Him and teach for the heart.